Hey guys, what's going on? It is your boy back here from SMB. It's TB from SMB coming at you today. We got a big video today. I'm probably gonna ramble on for quite a while. I haven't talked to y'all in a while, so I'm gonna catch up on some things here. What's going on in the market? But this is CPI Eve. I had to make a video. We get the big one tomorrow. CPI coming out tomorrow. And I just want to chat about where the market's at right now. What I'm not so much predicting, but what I am anticipating tomorrow. And what I think the market is about to do next. We're not in the business here of prediction. We're in the business of reacting. And right now, I'm reacting to what the market has given me, and I'm just going to talk about that. So, getting into the S&P 500 first. I know I started on the Nasdaq, but let's start with the S&P 500. Here we are on the 4-hour chart. Let's start in the daily chart. So I normally don't use the line. I wanted to use the line today because I'm just trying to simplify things very much so. Because this is what I always do. Okay, this is what I do when we're near a peak. I try to tell myself, I FOMO in. I try to tell myself, nah, this time's different. This time, inflation is dead. This time the Fed is going to drop rates. This time's different. This time the bottom's already in. I missed it. So what I do is, when the market's high, I know in the back of my mind, I say to myself, hey, I know I already missed this rally, but what if it's still going to keep going? And this is what I do every time. See this rally? This was about a 10% rally back here in March. Big rally we had here from June through August. We had a 17% rally, and right now we are on the near the top of about a 15% rally on the S&P. But that's what I always do when I'm near the peak. I'm always like, well, maybe this time is different. Maybe inflation is dead. And there will be a time, mind you, there will be a time when I'm wrong, and this is all just thrown out the window. But I'm going to tell you exactly what I need to see to be convinced that this time I'm wrong, and this time it isn't just a peak, and we aren't just going to take another leg lower. But right now is not that time yet. So just looking at the S&P 500. A child could look at this chart and give you a solid prediction of what's probably going to happen next. Hey kid, every time the S&P runs up to this yellow line, what happens next? Oh, it goes down, and it goes down further than it went down the time before. And we've had that happen one time, two times, and now three times. It's on its way next leg lower. And now, mind you, this is almost noon on the trading session today, and we have a green day on the S&P today. But I'm just going to talk about why I think that's really weird, and then I'll get into the VIX and all that. But just looking. I know I'm shouting into my mic, sorry. Just looking at this chart right here, right now, you look at the lines, I simplify it. Look at this big yellow line. Look at I should probably not have that be the same exact color as not the same exact color as that either, as the 200-day moving average. So we've bounced off that 200-day moving average once already. We've bounced off of it again once, and that 200-day moving average is right there on that downtrend. So we have bounced off that downtrend, and it looks like we have put in that next peak. And that peak, mind you, is right off of, this isn't the real S&P 500 chart, it's just my clean one. It's right off of 4080 on the S&P. On SPY, that was 410 to the cent it bounced off of. But I just want you guys to look at this chart and tell me what do you think is going to happen next. Throw everything else out the window. Throw all the news, all the Powell's Fed talk, and that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Is that every time we make one of these peaks, and then look at this box that we bounce out. I mean, this is our dynamic supply zone that I've told you guys about many times. But I just want to tell you, I want to ask you guys what happens in the market every time we make one of these peaks. What exactly happens? So when we make one of these peaks, it is always on the back of the Fed coming out and saying, hey guys, maybe we don't have to raise interest rates as high as we thought. And then we get a nice little CPI report. So it's just pure euphoria, all euphoria. Everyone's covering their shorts because they're scared they're going to get squeezed. Everyone's buying in because they're FOMOing that they missed the bottom, and we just get a crazy rally. We go, and then what happens? Oh, that euphoria wears off, and then the Fed comes out and they lay the facts. So that's what I want to talk about, is we get the facts at the peak. We always get the facts. Back here in August, we got the facts. The Fed came out and said, inflation is not dead. We are going to keep raising rates. That was a fact. earlier over here, we didn't get facts. We just got the Fed being like, hey, maybe we don't have to raise rates as high as we do. Hey, the economy is actually really strong, so we probably can still raise rates. But not as high as we thought. Powell come out and say some nice stuff. All this crap. We get a friendly CPI report. We get a CPI report that is lower than the month before. It's lower than expectations. Everyone's like, hurrah, inflation's dead. And then we get to the peak and we get the facts. And the Fed comes out and they say factual things. We get a CPI report that has facts that says inflation's not dead. It has come back. So that's just what I wanted to kind of nail into people's heads heading into tomorrow's CPI, is that every time we get one of these crazy euphoric peaks, it's just on hope, and it's like it's FOMO buying. Like it is, there has been no panic selling. It's panic buying. This is people just panic buying. People thinking, shit, I missed the bottom. Panic buy, panic buy. And retail traders are still buying. They're still buying TQQQ. They're still buying Nasdaq. They're still buying Apple. Still so much hope. We're definitely in a recession. Yada, yada, yada. I've said all these things all year. It's almost an entire year of me rambling about how bearish everything looks. But now we have to look at exactly where the S&P is right now. The S&P has broken its uptrend. You can see this big blue line broken that uptrend. We are now in a bearish consolidation. We have just been, it's been 4 days of just pure chop on the S&P. I mean, it's been nauseating. Today we do have a nice little green day. It is super duper, and let me tell you, super, very, very suspicious when you get a solid green day heading into potentially really bad inflation news. That is always super, like, alarm bells going off in my head, like something's a little weird. It isn't like a crazy green day. And another thing to note is that the Nasdaq is lagging behind just a little bit. Tech is very weak. But main thing I want to talk about is the VIX. The VIX is up 7.5%. It is up a lot today. And that is so very bizarre. When the VIX is up this much and the market is green, that is very, very bizarre. And so I've seen this many times before. I've seen days where we are like blood red and the VIX is doing nothing, and then it just flips and we go to green. So that's kind of what's happening right here. I'm seeing this like really, really bizarre stuff going on in the VIX, where it just like, if somebody just showed me the VIX chart and just showed me this and I didn't know what happened the rest of the day, I'd be like, oh, that must have been like a pretty solid red day. That must have been like a down 1%, maybe 1.5% day for the S&P. It would never be like, oh, the S&P is actually up almost full percentage today. Very, very bizarre. And that's, NVIDIA is actually doing really well today too. I'll talk about NVIDIA. But another thing with the VIX, same thing. I've been telling you guys all about this. Let's go back to the line. Make it nice and simple. Nice and simple. What does the VIX do? The VIX, it goes up to this $34, $33 area, and then it comes down. It sells out of that, and if you buy the S&P right there, you ride it down, and you sell in the 18, 19 area, you are making a lot of winning trades. If you've just been doing that all year, you are making a fortune this year. And then what happens? It comes down to 19, 18, and then it rips out of there, it comes all the way back up to 34. So if you would have shorted here, covered up here, you're looking good. And then you buy up here, and then stocks go up, VIX falls, things look nice. This is back in August. The VIX looks nice. We came down to 1950, and then what? We made a nice falling wedge. We rip out of that wedge, and we ripped back up to 34, and then guess what happens? We get another rally. That's the bottom. So what's VIX doing now? Oh my goodness, look at this perfect falling wedge. And it doesn't look that great in the line chart, but if you go to the candles, look at that perfect falling wedge. We're ripping out of that thing. Super bullish looking for the VIX right now. And looking around the market, so the VIX is looking bullish, which is bearish for the rest of the stocks. Looking around the market, let's take a look at Apple. So Apple is actually squeezing out a nice green day today. But this is what I want to talk about. I know I've been saying that a lot. But this is another thing I wanted to mention. If you look at the SP 500, S&P is well off its bottom. It bottomed over here at 3,500. It is a big chunk, about 10% off of that. You look at Apple. Apple is way lagging. Apple is barely up. What is that, like 5% from its recent bottoms down here at 134? Maybe about 6 or 7%. If you look at the Nasdaq, same idea. Nasdaq 259. It's up about. Yeah, it's up about over 10% too. So that's another thing. I've been talking about that for a while. I've been talking about how we are not done with this recession until we see a capitulation in Apple. We have seen a capitulation type movement out of stocks like Amazon. We have seen Amazon drop a fat percentage, about over 50 some percent. We've seen Google drop a fat percentage over, yeah, almost 50% on Google, right? My math sucks. Yeah, we've seen Google drop nearly 50%, 45%. Microsoft, we have seen it's holding up. So Microsoft and Apple are just holding up really well, but it has also dropped close to 40%. Tesla's holding up really well. But we have seen complete capitulation in stocks like Meta, stocks like Netflix. We have seen, yeah, like panic selling, like get out, I'm out, I'm out, I'm out, get out. So that's something I want to talk about, is that we are just not going to see the rest of the market capitulate until we see Apple capitulate. And right now, Apple is not looking good. Apple is looking a little bit sick at the moment. We're sitting right here on Apple, very close to its recent lows, but it is just not. I mean, the market has been rallying a lot as of recently, but Apple has just not been. Apple has just run up to resistance, run up to resistance, run up to resistance. So it has had multiple opportunities to just rip, to just go crazy, and it is just not doing that. That is super bearish looking in my eyes. And tomorrow it absolutely could just flip, rip, and we go up straight up to 153. But it is super bearish as of right now, in my honest opinion. It has broken this downtrend, and it looks like it wants to go test these lows again at 135. And then below that, we have clearly 130 big cycle level and the all-time yearly low. But God, it's super low volume today, of course, pre-CPI. So just, dude, don't be too bearish, Thomas. Don't be too bearish. But man, this market looks, yeah, man, this super duper low volume buying on the S&P. But for CPI with VIX up like 7.5%, like, whoa, what is going on? Looking at the Nasdaq, I mean, Nasdaq was up in a rising wedge. It is broken out. The Nasdaq, it has support right now at 279, 280-ish. But anything below that, and we are going to see a big sell down. I could see Nasdaq, if we get really bad CPI news tomorrow, I could see it selling down immediately to 273, probably opening around there, and then going to fill the gap. That's another thing I must mention, is that there is a big, big gap on the market right now. There's a big gap on the S&P as well. Big freaking huge gap on the S&P. Let's go SPY. I can tell you exactly. SPY from 385 all the way down to 375. I mean, we got that monster gap from last CPI. So what do you think? Honestly, tell me the odds you think the bottom is in, and we don't fill this huge gap on the S&P. Like that's just crazy talk. If you think we're not going to fill that gap, that monster, this freaking, was this like a 2% gap? Oh my God. 2.5% gap on the S&P, man. I need some. I need something that, whatever you guys are smoking. I can't even talk. I need to smoke whatever y'all are smoking. If you think that gap ain't getting filled, holy moly, I'm telling you right now, there just ain't no way. Let's talk about NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is my main focus going into tomorrow. So NVIDIA has gotten beat up, but you might think this is like, oh my gosh, this is like terrible for NVIDIA. This pullback on NVIDIA, we have come down about 68, almost 70%. Right now, NVIDIA is sitting down only about 50% on the year. And you might think 50%, yeah, that's a lot. But let's go back in history, shall we? Mind you, keep in mind the famous words investors say that is their downfall is this time is different. Because those words are just, that's famous last words for investors. So we can go back. We're gonna have to raise this price. Let's take a little trip down memory lane. Let's visit 2008. So 2008, we're not getting that bad of a recession, at least as of now. It doesn't look like it's gonna be that bad. We got a peak to bottom of 85% on Nvidia. That was over from November 2007 until October, November 2008. Nvidia dropped about 85%. If we dare go back to the dot-com bubble, Nvidia went down about 88%, almost, let's call it 90%, from its peak to its bottom. I mean, it went from like $6 a share down to, and mind you, it's had stock splits and everything, but to about 60 cents. So that's about a 90% drop. And right now, NVIDIA is only down about 50%. And we can even do, I mean, this one's back here. I mean, this is just 2011, or no. yeah, about January 2011 from here. I mean, just that pullback was 55%. So now you might be thinking, yeah, well, this tech has gotten bigger since then. And that's 100% true. Of course it has. There's Bitcoin mining, all this stuff that NVIDIA just didn't have back there. But it's still just got way, 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 way too overvalued. This was just a crazy huge bubble. I mean, look at these green candles. I mean, NVIDIA just went stupid. So just you cannot think that there's no way it could go down 80%, but it's absolutely possible that it could. So just keep all that in mind. We know its earnings; they've been just abysmal. I mean, you can just draw a straight line straight down from its revenue. Let's start back here. November 2021 reported revenue 7 billion. Then over here 7.6. So this was Nvidia's like, damn, we're looking good. Things actually ain't that bad. Oh, hey, we got 8.2 there. Things ain't bad. And then we go from 8.2, we go to 6.7. Just a gut punch of an earnings, and the stock reacted accordingly. It tumbled. It went straight from 180 straight down to 134 over the span of about 5 days. And then we got our earnings over here where they had to revise before the earnings even came out. They had to come out and be like, yo, guys, we're gonna be way off. we are not even close on these earnings. They had to come out earlier and say that, if I'm not mistaken. At least I'm pretty sure that they did. So these last earnings came out and they were at 5.9. So they went from 8.2 billion in revenue to about 6.7 to about 5.9 over the last 3 quarters. And there is where that's not really where we got our bottom on Nvidia. It made a crazy run from there, but it just has become abundantly clear that they are so exposed to consumer demand. They're so exposed to crypto demand, gaming demand, all that stuff. You can look, their cards are plummeting in price. This time last year, you could not find a card for anywhere near its MSRP, and now these cards are actually selling close to it. And they have just been getting hammered on the revenue side of things. Their EPS just, yeah, it's been a rough stretch for Nvidia. I mean, God, it's been bad. It's been bad. And so, why do I think this is such a good short setup? I just asked myself, has anything gotten better from back here, October 13th of this year? Has anything gotten better from that point to now, where it has rallied 62%? It has had a 62% rally off of its bottom. Has anything gotten better? Is anything in the business side getting better? Has the consumer gotten stronger? Are people spending more money since then? Has inflation gone down? It has gone down slightly since then. Is the Fed dropping rates? No. All no's. Why on earth has it rallied 61%? Well, it's obvious. I mean, shorts cover. This is a incredibly volatile stock. It is not new that it has these crazy rallies. I mean, it rallied 40% over there. It rallied about 37% there. It has had these insane rallies, and it just does that. It always does that. These semiconductor stocks are so insanely volatile. I think it's a really good short because we are right up against this trend line, which this trend line is sitting. So I look for these confluences. I look for where's the trend line? Is there a confluence with anything else? And the 200-day moving average, if you look around any of these tech stocks, it has some significance to most stocks. You can tell just on the S&P, you look at the 200-day moving average, it bounced right off of it back there in August. It's bounced off of it today, or this past month. If you look at Apple, it bounced off of its 200-day moving average over here Friday, 28th of October. If you look, I think Microsoft bounced off its 200-day. You look at Amazon, it's bounced off its 200-day. You look at, what have I not touched on? Tesla, it's bounced off its 200-day moving average multiple times. And then, so when I see that it's bounced off of that, and it has not tested that, mind you, since it broke it way over here back in April. But when I see that 200-day, that important metric on top of its trend line, on top of its main downtrend line, I mean, come on. I live by don't fight the trend. I've been fighting the trend. I'm trying to learn to not fight the trend. But the trend clearly is that it's still in a downtrend. It is right at resistance, just sitting right at that resistance. And we know that there are still sell orders, because when you see this violent selling, you see this crazy violent selling right here. Let's go to the 5 minute. I really let's do the half hour. I really want to nail in how many sell orders are probably still waiting right here. So when you see this kind of crazy violent selling like we had over here, the 25th of August of this year, when you see this crazy high volume selling, there are still, believe it or not, still sell orders sitting there. They are still waiting there because that is a supply zone. That is where limit orders are still sitting there ready to sell. And they are unfilled, but they are sitting there. And once we run up to that, I imagine, so we know that sellers are waiting there. We could very well rip right through it, but I honestly believe sellers are still waiting there because of how much selling happened at that point. I mean, it just collapsed. Look at this price change. I mean, it collapsed 25% over the span of like not even 2 weeks. Was that about 2 weeks? No, not even 2 weeks. That was like a week. Uh, and look at this. We're right up against that. That is sitting. So we have all these confluences. We have this big supply level. We have this 200-day moving average. We have our dynamic trend line that we are still below, and mind you, we can get these little fake outs. And then on top of that, I gotta talk about this too. We have an obvious, very, very obvious rising channel. Look at these little pink lines. We have this very obvious rising channel that NVIDIA is just bounce, 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 bounce in between this. We got our bounce off of that last week on Wednesday. We bounced, we've ripped off of it, and now, see, that's what usually happens on these rising channels. We usually get this test, third test, we get a break. But we got a break, and it was a big fake out, nasty fake out, and it just completely reversed 175 straight down to 168. So that typically happens. Now we're going for our fourth test right now. Honestly, today is way, way greener than I thought it would be for NVIDIA. It's kind of blowing my mind. But we are still, if you look at the daily, we're still in that rising channel. We still haven't closed above that 200-day moving average. And even if all that happens, it still doesn't mean that we are in the clear. But right now, we have, I mean, this is just, it's a really good looking short setup. I love NVIDIA. I love the company. I wish no ill will on any long NVIDIA holders. I'm just saying, when you have a rising channel, you have the big dynamic downtrend line that we have been following all this year. You have the 200-day moving average. You have a big supply line right there. It's like all these confluences. It could be too obvious. It could be so obvious that everyone and their mother on Wall Street knows that idiots like me are looking at this and like, oh, puts look good on NVIDIA. But in my opinion, my stop loss, I have some puts. My stop loss is up here at 176. I might raise that. I got a put for $135 strike price for February. So that is very far out. I have a lot of time. It's a very small contract, but my stop loss might be 180. I think if we can get above 180 on NVIDIA, it might be good, but above that, it has 192. I don't think there's any chance in hell that it gets above that, but I would take a loss if NVIDIA did that to me. Right now, NVIDIA is just going stupid right now. I know I'm talking about trying to buy shorts on NVIDIA as it's going straight up present. I mean, but it's like, what the, it's so weird. Why is it doing this before the CPI? We have big news tomorrow. Like, what is going on with NVIDIA? And we're getting this crazy green day. It's like, so I know better. This market has taught me. I know better to just, it's such a bull trap looking thing. I feel like if I started trading like a month ago, I'd see this and be like, oh, NVIDIA's ready to go. It's ready to break. It's going to go crazy. I'm buying calls. But it's like, the thing has gone up. It's gone up 60%. 60% from October 13th to now. Over about 2 months, it's gone 60%. And what has gotten better since then? What situation has improved for NVIDIA's business outlook? Its revenue is just going straight down. Its EPS going straight down. Everything's going straight down. Consumer demand straight down. Everything's going down. Like, what is happening? And I just trade the setup. I see the setup and it looks so perfect, in my opinion. I gotta roll with a put on it. I just gotta try it. And the fact that we have had, look at this volume down here. I mean, we have had weak volume too. I mean, we have been getting weak ass volume. When you see that, when you see a big rally and you see volume kind of just drop off, I mean, it's been like green days, but it's not been big green days. Not like over here. Not like over here. We had big green days over here. Big volume green days down here. Look at this volume over here. This early December volume. Look at that compared to back here in October, where we were having like panic buying, where people were like, buy, buy, buy. It's not happening. Volume is dying, and that's kind of what's happening all around the market right now. Of course, pre-CPI is usually dead ass volume anyways, but It's I don't know, man. I just don't know. Look at Microsoft's volume. Like, what is this? What is it? What? Look at Amazon. I mean, Amazon is just. I said that weeks ago, and I told y'all. I said Amazon looks like it wants lower. Amazon looks like, man, that shit's going down here to 65 a share. I guarantee that. There's just no way it doesn't retest that $66 level or 65. But anyways, that's really my thesis going into tomorrow. The fact that I'm so bearish is probably going to be why the market goes straight up tomorrow. But let me just run through my quick scenario that I anticipate we get tomorrow. So tomorrow we could, if we get good CPI news, which it's probably, honestly, in all likelihood, it's supposed to be good. I would not be surprised if it is good. And we see a big gap up. We gap up to like 40.60 on S&P. We just gap straight up. I predict we will still, not predict, I anticipate that we will still bounce off of the supply zone up here at 40.80. And then we could see more downside. And then we come down here and we go lower. I could see that very easily. I could also see CPI is just terrible, and we just drop straight down to this. We come straight down here, we bounce off the gap, we come up a little bit, retest, and then we go back down anyways, and then we fill the gap, or no, undo. Come up a little bit, and we go fill the gap way down here, and we close around 37.50. I mean, I know it sounds terrible, but this has just been happening all year, this kind of stuff. So it's not out of the ordinary to get a crazy ass red day like that, but I don't know. I just don't know. Tomorrow is supposed to be good CPI news. It's supposed to be good, but if it isn't, the market is just so ready to crater. It's so ready to go for that next leg lower. It's insane. And it looks like SPY is getting a little rejection finally. Jesus Christ, I thought it might just go straight up. It's getting a low rejection here at 39.70. Oh, and the cat wants to visit. Okay, go away. But that's what I got for you guys. Bro, can I not get off of this? Sheesh. That's just the message I want to nail in your guys' head. I just have to acknowledge what the market has been doing all year. What's it just been doing all year? I mean, peak, 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 down, come down, come down, come down. VIX, what's it do? It peaks, it goes down. It peaks, it goes down. It peaks, it goes down. And then it bottoms, goes up, bottoms, goes up. And look what it's doing right now. It's going right up. Look at VIX. It's up almost 10%, and the freaking market's green. What is happening? What is the stock market, dude? Oh, my gosh. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been a long video. I thank you if you watch the entire thing. I thank you if you have subscribed. Thank you for your comments and likes. I appreciate all of it. I hope you guys felt like you learned something out of this rambling video. But we will drop a video tomorrow to talk about that CPI number that comes out at 5:30 tomorrow morning for the West, 8:30 Eastern. But yeah, good luck, guys. Just trade your plan. It's literally gambling. If you're holding weekly puts or calls overnight, you're gambling. And just don't even kid yourself about that. If you're right, don't be like, well, this is what I saw. This was right. I'm holding puts that are out till February. Do not, and I mean do not, unless you can afford it, unless you're just hedging yourself, do not hold S&P calls overnight, S&P puts overnight. Just wait, react. There will be plenty of action tomorrow. And yeah, that's all I got to say, folks. Thanks for watching again. I'll catch you guys later.